to actually ask you to say your name, because I am the worst person at trying to pronounce names or use accents.
Sure, no worries.
So go ahead.
Kaylan Darshan.
Okay, and let me ask you a question too, because this is something I've always wondered about Kundalini. Why do you change or give yourself another name?
I think there are different spiritual traditions whereby a name is selected for you or divinely received from the person who's channeling that for you,
Mm-hmm.
and with the idea of it's a name that you are trying to live up to, trying to expand into, and it wasn't a given that you had to do that, but it was an option, and I thought this will be really interesting to see what they come back with, and so it's you are trying to live up to that expectation of what that's.
Or like placing an intention into something, or a name of.
Yeah, trying to live up to its vibration.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about your background. Like, I've always been attracted to Kundalini, and matter of fact, I already was doing some of the movements before I even knew, which I found very interesting. And I guess let me ask you first, why Kundalini?
Well, really, throughout my life, I had tried different kinds of yogas, and perhaps I just had not a good experience. I know that yoga is a wonderful practice, but it just didn't seem to resonate with me.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband and I were in California visiting his cousin, and he and his girlfriend suggested we go to a sound healing bath, and of course that was a big interest of mine, and I was like, fantastic. But when we arrived, it was like, this is a yoga class. And so, okay, we're practicing some yoga, and we began, I think, very quickly, we started practicing a breath of fire. And I'll never forget the experience. It was just like something really welled up inside of me. It was really powerful. And I wasn't sure if I could keep up with the breath, but I kept going. And by the end of the class, I was so uplifted. The sound healing bath was a gong bath, and we do include gong in pretty much all of our classes. It's a beautiful way to integrate the practices. By the time I left that class, I was so uplifted and excited that I left without my handbag. Had to come back for that, and I didn't know what it was. And when I finally remembered to ask, it was Kundalini Yoga. And then when I came back to Houston, there were just those serendipitous circumstances where I was driving down the road and I saw 1111, which always calls my attention, and then right next door I see a Kundalini Yoga sign. And there were some other things that also led me to the same place. And when I realized they were teaching Kundalini Yoga, I started a regular practice, and I really loved it because it just moves so much energy in your body.
Yes.
And it doesn't require, it does meet you where you're at. And what I felt within myself was that it really allowed me to deepen my meditation practice. And I mean, every Kundalini Yoga class is different because there are a lot of, we have what we call kriyas. So they're specific sets that contain asanas and breaths and mantras, and each kriya has a very specific outcome. And so some of them are really like vibrant and your heart's going to pound, and others are more relaxing. But I would always find by the time we got to the meditation, I was able to really drop into this deeper space, and I'd be feeling the energy moving in my body. I remember like very often just feeling this energy in my head, just physically like moving, but in a very pleasant way. And so it just kept me coming back. And shortly thereafter, very shortly, maybe a month in, Sati, a beautiful Kundalini Yoga teacher, call her my lighthouse, she announced that they were considering to offer teacher training. My hand just shot up immediately, like, okay, I guess I'm doing this. Yeah, and so that commenced, I guess, a few months later, and I began teaching right then when I finished that. It was on the solstice back in 2017. And I've been teaching a lot ever since, and been exploring the practice, testing the practice, and it's really tremendous. It really is. I've just found that for myself personally, and I've received good reports back from people that have been regular students, that things do change. It's when it came to America in the late 60s, it was presented as yoga for the Aquarian age, and so the age of Aquarius is this new age. It's determined by the movement of us in the cosmos, and so we're bridging at this time. We're moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. This is a disruptive process, and a lot of people are having troubles. I mean, certainly we can see the disruptions on the planet, but there is a shift of our consciousness. There is an awakening of our consciousness, and that can be very uncomfortable for a lot of people. So this was brought to America and presented. This is yoga for the age of Aquarius, for dealing with the struggles and the difficulties that are going to unfold at that time. And in that process, you become more aware of who you are, because as we were talking earlier, it's really easy just to get so caught up in life and the role you play here and there and there and there and there. But I just wonder how many people get to the end and never really discover who they truly are.
Yes.
And that is what Kundalini Yoga, the style that I teach, wants to unfold within you. So you finally realize, like, what truly is your passion? What is your destiny? What's your purpose on the planet? And in that context of moving into a new age, which is very much about finding your tribe, expanding community, is where does my personal puzzle piece fit into that big picture of humanity? And it's an integral piece. It's so important, when people, more and more of us, start finding what it is that's our true thing, and can bring our energy and consciousness to that, and then find their like-minded tribe, is we're going to see profound shift for the positive, I believe, at a pretty rapid rate.
Yeah, I kind of feel this undercurrent of transformation happening, and I've even had like several people come into the studio and be like, what is going on? Like, I feel something about, it's like a bubble about to burst. And they're like, I don't know what it is, and I'm not into all this empathetic stuff and this energy work that you do, and I'm like, yeah, something's coming. Something's coming, and it's important for us to really be grounded in ourselves, and like you said, find out who we really are, because it is affecting us in our personal lives, and this shift is very disruptive. And I think people for me right now, they're so tired of being uncomfortable and not. People get very, very comfortable in habits and their daily rituals and routines that they. Just stepping a little bit outside of that is scary to them. And what would be your advice to someone who is, they're like in this moment where they're like, I know something needs to change, but I am rigid, I am unknowing, I am fearful of what's this new thing, Kundalini or whatever, meditation.
Right.
What's your advice to somebody like that if they come to you?
Sure. Meeting yourself where you're at to begin with, like being okay with, like, okay, something's got to shift, I can feel this happening, I don't want to shift, I don't want to change, I'm quite happy, or we think we're quite happy, kind of motoring along. Sometimes we realize that we're not really happy after all, but we can become content or comfortable in our discomfort, because everything else is the unknown, and that can feel a little bit scary and pull us out of our routine. Our brains like to stay in the routine, in that track that we've paved. So meeting ourselves where we're at, and really finding, we have just so many meditation offerings with Kundalini Yoga, but finding a mindful practice and beginning to be okay with sitting with yourself. And so, mindfulness is a really big deal these days because it's so powerful. but for someone that has never practiced, it's scary to all of a sudden sit down and stop your whole life around you and say, okay, just meditate on what comes up in your mind and be okay with it.
Yeah.
It's like, heck no, get me out of here. I don't want
Yeah.
to have to deal with my own thoughts and my own feelings. Like, it's just overwhelming. So what I like with Kundalini Yoga is that with the practices, we have, as I said, many of them, but I pick one that's going to be helpful for a particular person. So we find the mantras. So there'll be a specific breath. It might not just be an inhale and an exhale rather. It might be a segmented breath. So, for example, inhale, 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 and then a long exhale. So while we're focusing on that, we'll bring a mantra to it. So now the mind is being occupied with something that's giving us the practice of that mindfulness, that present time attention. And for example, in that breath, you're getting these little pauses in between the breath as you're breathing in. And with every pause, this gives our brain, our subconscious mind, an opportunity to process all the stuff. Not only from our own lives and who knows, past lives, all the ancestral stuff that we carry, but just the last few years. I mean, this has impacted everybody in a really profound and unique way. And so we're doing our own, trying to figure out our way forward through this time as the world and, everything's kind of shaking beneath us. Using a mantra, anyway, getting back to the meditation, using a mudra, like just moving through the fingers. And so a person therefore can be practicing mindfulness, doing some really powerful mind cleansing work, like getting the garbage out of the mind, all the terrible things we tell ourselves, the feelings and thoughts of self-doubt, I'm not good enough, I could never be this, I could never do that, like getting rid of all the rubbish and then starting to put in some really good juice, connecting with the heart, like the heart in everyone is this profound treasure chest that's just bursting with, come on, make some space up in your mind so I can like start living our life.
Yeah, I feel there's a lot of stuckness right now. People are not knowing which direction to go, and even in mantra is very scary for people because of obviously like the expectation that people see on TV and movies, thinking that it's very cultish, and I get that a lot. Like people will be like, "Oh, you aren't going to be chanting, are you?" And I'm like, "Maybe. I don't know. It just depends. Like, if it's needed, it's needed." And I understand from my own experience with different religions, and I guess maybe if we could explain more to people that most of the time they're already doing some kind of mantra in their life. They just don't realize it's a mantra. Even in like religious church services, they're saying amen and the self-talk that they're giving themselves, because they say those things several times a day in their head. Like there's a connection there that they're not getting, and
I hear what you're saying.
There's that, and then there's the opening yourself to lower vibrations and evil entities.
Oh,
have you heard this?
Yeah, I really hear what you're saying, and so some of the mantras that we use in Kundalini Yoga are like little baby sounds because they connect us with frequencies or qualities of emotions, qualities of beingness that are more of a higher frequency than someone that has this perpetual self-hatred complex or just deep dark depression where I'm never going to get out of this, never going to get out of this. This is as you're saying, like these mantras that we're playing out in our own minds, but we have a mantra that just really brings, for example, restores balance, the perfect cycle of life. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. It's just so simple, that little baby sound. What does a baby do when he's hungry? When she's hungry, it's ma, 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 ma. That ma is a mantra that we use, just that simple word right there. But a mantra, of course, can be I am feeling great.
Mm-hmm.
I am feeling great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am at peace.
Mm-hmm.
I am empowered and amazing. And so that can be, you know, I guess perhaps a bridge to help people travel across. But I guess when you're looking at mantras, you know, that ma sound, it generates a it vibrates the heart. It's like, you know, it's the way the baby expresses itself. So it's a very maternal mantra. But, you know, other mantras, Sanskrit mantras, we use a lot of Gurumukh mantras in Kundalini Yoga, which means from the mouth of the guru. And these mantras, they generate a sound vibration. So one mantra we use very regularly is Hara, 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 H-A-R. And that R is bouncing off the roof of the mouth, and we're pulling our belly in, Hara, activating an energy center, a chakra in the body that really activates our motivation. It's great for overcoming procrastination and really great for setting intentions. But with that action, this is about creating a very profound frequency in the body. The tongue hitting the roof of the mouth in that way is creating a very special frequency in our brain. It activates the pituitary gland, balances the hormones in the body. And then with particular mantras, they, you know, the way you pronounce them, the way the energy flows, the way that energy is received in the body can be healing. I mean, there are mantras for creating all kinds of qualities, whether we need to overcome depression, whether we need to connect more with our feminine nature, or whether we need to really ramp up our energy, or whether we're seeking forgiveness or needing to find that within ourselves. I mean, as you know, there are mantras for everything, and you can just bring an English phrase to anything at all, of course, which is indeed powerful, particularly if you put an I am on the front of it. But these languages that can sound a little bit scary to folks are just simply phrases that activate a quality within us and are incredibly empowering.
I agree. Obviously, like the musician side and the vibration, vibrational side of me, like speaking through bowls and sounds and how they move within your body. I think it's a very old practice, but with technology is becoming more legitimate, I guess you want to say. Like, these things actually work. Actually, on your the video I watched of you when I was doing one of your practices, it ended with the gong. I freaking love the gong. And I've actually gone to a gong bath, and I mean, just in very different responses from me and another lady. We were at different times in our lives. She was going through like the passing of a loved one and grief, and I was like, oh, I'm opening up to like whatever, you know. And so she was just had a very visceral like response to it. Like, she had a hard time like even staying in the room.
Wow.
Because it was bringing things forth.
Bringing your grief to consciousness.
Yes, and I was like hearing things and people walking around me in the room and just like all kind of crazy stuff. So, let's move into the practice that you have with sound. First of all, you're going to be having an event coming up on the 29th.
Right.
The pyramid, that's what you're calling it, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So we have a pyramid that's actually built to the proper dimensions, as is the pyramid of Giza in Egypt. And this was built by Unity of Houston. It's a unit. It's a very all-encompassing spiritual center, and they have this fantastic pyramid. So when you're doing sound events in this space, the energy moves in a really profound way.
Oh, so you can go inside of it.
Oh, yeah. We're in the pyramid. Yeah, it's a big space. It's like it's a really big pyramid. So it holds maybe 200 or 300 people, I think. Maybe not as many as that. It was their original church space, but then they outgrew it and they built another
Interesting.
place. And so this, on the 29th, which is a Wednesday night, we're doing an hour kirtan sacred chants. So there'll be myself, have a couple of wonderful string players, Marsha and Dan from the Symphony, the Houston Symphony, and other wonderful orchestras. My husband plays guitar, and we're going to be chanting mantras for really bringing in the summer, and it also falls on the new moon, the first new moon we have in the summer as well. So new moons are great for setting intentions. When the sun and the moon meet, they create this brand new vibration, and this is the first one for the summer, so we'll be letting loose our intentions on that wave of energy using mantras, chanting together.
Sounds like heavenly, actually. Like, I didn't even know there was going to have strings involved. That it's like a whole other element I wasn't even thinking about. It's going to be, wow. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, they Marsha and Dan really bring a whole nother layer of musical just magic.
Yes.
I remember the first time I heard when they're pulling their instruments out of their case and Marsha struck her bow, and I couldn't believe it. I was just, I was like, really? I was like, whoa. It's just this incredible feeling in my body. They're lovely players. And they practice in my morning classes most days as well, so we've got a really nice synergy together and have developed a really beautiful friendship over the years.
Yeah, I loved your incorporation with like all the elements, and I mean, like, I think that's something that's missing from some practices. Obviously because of the live room experience too. Like we're talking about a live event where you're gonna have like all these wonderful instruments just kind of like vibing you out. You're probably gonna feel high by the end of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think there should definitely be more events like this, and hopefully people can start to open up to just going and having an experience. Like,
exactly.
No expectations.
Exactly.
Let me just kind of like you thought it was going to be something else.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got there, it's just
gosh, it totally changed my life.
Yeah.
But I think what we both have in common too is having had a professional music career and then being called to sort of bring music into a new realm of using the frequencies and the vibration for healing, and so there's that equation of sound plus intention equals healing. Sound moves through our body so beautifully because we've got so much water in our body. The sound moves through water 5 times faster, and it's like the carrier wave. Our voices can be the carrier wave for the intention that we are wishing to set. So it's powerful medicine, really powerful medicine.
Yeah, definitely.
Just, to people listening, just humming to yourself and finding a pitch of moving around until you can feel it vibrating your heart. Just a beautiful practice for calming down. You can bring your hands over your heart, just gently move your voice around, and turn your mind off in that judgy. It's not about how it sounds, it's about how it feels. Just letting it soothe your heart. Because at the end of the day, I think all of these practices are really designed to bring us back to our heart center, back to our inner truth, back to our
inner truth,
love. Back to the compassion, the love, and all that we really need to find more of for ourselves and for others.
Definitely. There's a huge need now, although it maybe was even there before, but COVID kind of brought it out and made people be more, express it more, that this is how it's affecting them, but like the depression rates, the suicide rates, and just talking with, like, on a personal level and personal sessions with people and getting the general vibe of everything, it's very needed right now. So that's obviously an upcoming event. What other offerings in the Houston area or online do you have to share with people?
Oh, sure. So each morning at 8 o'clock, I do an online Kundalini Yoga class. Like many people, I switched to being an online person at COVID, and it's quite, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. So from 8 to 8:50, Kundalini Yoga. We have always a gong bath, so you always get the gong, and meditation, which is a specific Kundalini Yoga meditation. And then at 9 o'clock I do a meditation for peace on the planet. And so just by looking, well, you can find my site, but there's a meetup group for that, not that you need to. And that's streamed on Facebook each morning. And then I'm offering practices in the park.
Okay.
So this recording might be after the next scheduled one, which will be on Sunday this coming week, which will be the 19th.
Okay.
19th.
I'm the same way, like
Right.
Google Calendar, like what do I got coming up?
And that's like that'll be just a couple of days before the solstice. So this will be a solstice practice. And so we're really bringing in that new light. It'll be almost the longest day of the year. It'll be 1 second short of the longest day of the year. So it'll be perfect. Other things that I'm offering, I marry people. I'm a minister.
Oh, that's right.
So people need a minister for any kind of service. I'm a
Yes.
metaphysical minister. And let me see. I do sound healing, yeah. So if
You work privately with people?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I work with tuning forks, gong, and,
Okay.
and bowls, and energy. And so if you are, seeking something in the Houston area that some releasing, then the sound is absolutely wonderful for that. I also do astrology. I incorporate it into all of my classes, new moon meditations every 2 weeks online, one tonight actually. In fact, this is such a great
I
time
know,
to
right?
be doing this.
I know. I was thinking about that earlier.
We are like literally being bathed here in the studio by the full moon in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is all about mind expansion, opening our minds to new concepts, pushing away dissolving those limited beliefs so we can reach out to new ideas and expanding ourselves for new adventures. The chart's really right now like telling us, come on, what's that thing you want to do, or what's that thing you want to add? Bust out of any feelings of no I can't, and just make the first step.
Yeah.
A lot of healing frequencies flowing into it this time. So they happen every couple of weeks. And but astrology, is another way, from a metaphysical standpoint, we talk about what is above is below. So when we look to the sky, it's not so much that the planets and the stars are doing things to us, although you could argue that, and perhaps one day we'll be able to measure that. I mean, we certainly know the moon can shift the tides.
Yeah, it definitely affects us. I mean, the
Right.
more you look, the more you start to pay attention to it, the more you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, exactly.
This is really affecting me, and let's use that. Let's harness that energy. That's what I'm really like.
I agree. I always say we want to collaborate with the cosmos, with the planets. But for anyone that feels like I just can't, I can't understand that these things are too far away, then I suggest that it's like another way of previewing what's happening, because when we look to the sky and we see the angles at these different planets, they all have a different archetype, and when they make specific angles, they're in agreement or they're in opposition or they're harmonizing. It's like it's a reflection back of what's happening on our planet, and in that way it's helping us see that bigger picture, and therefore we can make adjustments to our life, find a good yoga practice.
I know.
And make some changes. It's all about awakening at this time. There's that word.
Yeah.
But it really is.
It is.
We're moving from the Piscean age, which was a very top-down structure. Like if you wanted to be anything, you had to either have money or have privilege or have some way of moving up. It's always like, I've got to strive to move up, 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 up. That's all, as we might have noticed, crumbling down. And we're becoming more horizontal, and so it's about creating community, finding our tribes, and letting that energy just move through where it needs to. The gatekeepers are going away, and it's going to be much more, our interactions are going to be direct. If I need a loan, I'm not going to have to go to the bank. I'll be reaching out through the blockchain and cryptocurrency and going, oi, I need some money because I want to expand my business. And because things will be so transparent, people go, sure, we love what you're doing. We've got some money. We've seen that you pay it back in the past. So let's help you out. That's how I'm imagining it moving forward. Like all of these gatekeepers are just going to disappear, and people will be able to literally access everything and anything. And so just getting back to the Kundalini Yoga, for example, that's going to be part of the difficulty, because with access to all the information, everything can be overload.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Right. So it's about building resilience, a strong nervous system, and becoming what Kundalini Yoga calls a self-sensory human, in that when you are in alignment with your heart, you're generating an electromagnetic field. Well, we always are generating an electromagnetic field, but then it brings to you what it is you need. So rather than thinking, oh my gosh, to get ahead, I've got to read every single book on this topic in order to be the best.
Yes.
It'll be like, I'm just going to trust that as a self-sensory human, what I need is going to come into my path and become a faithful, trusting human, calm, peaceful, just recognizing that what I need is going to show up, and just living in that flow. And you know what? Yeah,
you took the words right out of my mouth.
Right
like
on.
Finding flow, and that's hard for people because it's the control. I'm controlling this instead of allowing.
Well, we've had to, haven't we, in order to survive? And this is part of the shift, is shifting from kind of living in a chronic state of stress. I've got to do this, I've got to do this and study more and to be a part of this, structure that was being created in the Piscean age. And now it's about kind of relinquishing that, taking back our energy, coming back to who we are, spending and investing our energy there, and then bringing that back out into the communities that are calling for it, and there's like-minded peoples. So with Kundalini Yoga too, it's we teach fundamentally that you are the guru, like you are your liberator. This isn't about someone coming and it's not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm the guru, you have to follow my This is about, you are the guru, you have the power in you, and this is very much about the age of Aquarius, that again, those gatekeepers are going, the bosses are going away. This is about, you are the boss and the master of your life, and you'll be deciding who and how you interact and work with. And of course there'll be little groups of people doing things, and there might be a ringleader there, but they're going to be that person that's empowering everybody else. So a very different system.
Yeah.
So let's hope we get there quick, huh?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a part of the thing I notice, and especially like just in my own journey, is seeking that truth. And you mentioned a very good point, is that there's an overwhelming amount of information with social media, and for me it's like finding what is real and what's not real, and what is true and what is not true. And especially as teachers, I think that that's part of our trying to help people sift through this over inundation
of information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I call it copy paste. Copy paste. This person said this, and this is and it goes with everything: crystals, yoga, meditation, mindfulness. Because everybody's wanting to kind of hop on that train because there is that deep need for healing. But I just suggest to people, really do your research and find out who you are dealing with as a person, as your teachers, where you're getting information. That is not just in the spiritual, holistic side. That is in life.
For sure.
If you're going to support something, really know where that comes from and what how that affects everybody and you. And, seeking truth.
Yeah, that's a really piece of good advice, is to really know who you're listening to and what their agenda might be as well. And again, though, moving into this self-sensory human in Kundalini Yoga, we really work on developing intuition.
Yes, I love that.
So on one hand, it's great to do the research, and then as we develop our intuition, and I'm sure because you are so highly intuitive that you get a feeling about stuff, like right as it just begins to hit you, feel like, I got it, I got that pin. You can feel what it is. And so as we develop our energetic system, we have these auras, these electromagnetic fields that expand around us. As something comes in and begins to interact with that, we can sense that. There's been experiments, great experiments, like you can tell when someone's looking at you from far away, even though you don't see them. Like it doesn't have to just come into your aura. I mean, you can feel this across the world. And the more we expand and develop our intuition, and just a note for that, like a simple way to do that is just if you are doing a practice, close your eyes and let your eyes be soft, and then just bring your eyes to focus at the area between the eyebrows, the brow point. And as you focus there, then energy is going there. And this part of the focus, it's activating our pituitary gland. And esoterically, that's associated with our intuition. So that's just a really great way to start expanding upon your intuitive mind. But yeah, we'll get a feeling for like, you know what, I just got a feeling that's not going to work for me. And then you're going to look it up and research, go, yep, I was right. So you can do a little fact checking for yourself as you're bringing in those intuitive skills.
I want to ask a little bit about, you are a Reiki master, and I know it's kind of new, it's becoming more open to people, and I've noticed everybody's got their own like lineage that they follow and their own, they kind of develop their own practice. Can you talk a little bit about like maybe a session with you or what you would do? I know you incorporate, which I do too, incorporate sound into these sessions. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Sure thing. So yeah, that's exactly what happens. You learn these different tools, and then you find through doing different sessions that something comes together for you. So I came through the Usui Reiki lineage back in 2014 and 2015 or 2013, 2014 was the period of time that I studied. And then I studied with Eileen McCusick and Jonathan Goldman. They're sound healing pioneers. So using tuning forks to tune the human biofield. It sounds a little wacky, but what happens to us in trauma is that and this is measured now, this is actually scientific fact, we can measure biophotons. So this is what light looks like when it's within our body. When we have a trauma, and trauma is usually accompanied by, we take that breath, and when we do that, we get this terrible fright. And then that fright can last a bit of time. We hemorrhage our soul. We hemorrhage those biophotons. And so when you see someone that you've not seen in a long time, they've just had a really, really rough time of it, you're like, my gosh, they're really looking quite depleted. You just see the life force isn't in them. And it's literally because it's living outside of their body. So when we talk about, traditional shamanic soul retrieval, this is what we're doing. There's many different ways to do soul retrieval through many different lineages, as you know. But with this way is we're using a tuning fork. We begin by striking the fork. We begin by grounding, getting on them, talking about what we're working on, getting grounded, breathing, and so, we're at the 10-15 minutes into the session by this time. So if I'm using the forks, I use the Reiki when I'm using the forks. So it's just a beautiful thing, as you know, to use sound and Reiki, because you're flowing the energy. The sound is that carrier wave. So you start with the forks around 6 feet out from the body. You strike the fork and you literally listen. You bring the forks, it's you hear something like, what's that? Why did the sound change? So when you look at the human biofield, right at the edge of the field, it goes all around you, is your birth. And then as you move in and come to the center of the body is now. So it's like a tree. If you cut a tree, you can see the rings around the tree. And what's happened at the edge of those rings is what happened at its birth. And say halfway through, if you look at the tree rings, you might see, oh, there's some garbage in here. Oh, well, it looks like that tree, there was a bit of a drought going on at that time or something, right?
Yes, yes.
So in the same way, as you're sounding the forks, you can hear these little shifts in the energy field.
Okay.
Because tuning forks and sound healing instruments create perfect sine waves, and therefore they have a harmonic response that moves all the way up, it goes higher and higher and higher until it starts to actually interfere or interact with the high frequencies that are coming off your body.
Okay.
So if there's a shift in the energy coming off your body because there's been some wounding, and all of a sudden there's a hole in the energy, the fork will pick that up. So anyway, I probably didn't need to go into that big explanation.
No. It makes sense because I've even mentioned it to Alan is like I feel, because I do the shamanic drum over people, but I also do the bowls over people, and so I feel, I'm like, it sounds different over everybody's body, and so, and I've even like caught myself up in like not controlling my body around people, which is a weird experience. So, no, I totally understand that. So continue.
So you're tuning, so you might come to a point, and someone may have had like a really big issue, you know, something very, very profound, and so you just kind of hang out there. You can use rattles, you can use continue with the forks, of course the reiki, and you just hang out, you let the body speak, you just wait in that area until it comes back into the same sound as everywhere else. So when you're standing off to the side of the body, you're working in the zone of, you know, if someone's had a broken heart, you've got to work in the heart chakra space. If someone has chronic migraines, you're probably going to work up around, you know, in the head area, around the sixth chakra. And if they've got stomach issues, you might work in the second or third chakra. So you basically collect all of that life force that the person has bled out, metaphorically speaking, and you bring it back in. It's like the tuning fork is like a magnet. You bring it all the way back in. You deliver it back into that chakra.
Okay.
So that's one part. And that also can be a very much, you know, there can be a lot of communication sometimes with people as things are coming up and they're going, oh my gosh, I didn't remember this part. And, you know, so as the memories are coming back, you know, we're releasing, we're doing
so it could be interactive, is what you're saying. Exactly. I know a lot of people are like, do I just lay there or just like, and they are all different. And it's either, it's really up to the person, it's their healing journey. And then, you know, as you pointed out, using the bowls, crystal singing bowls, Tibetan bowls, bringing them on the body, just creating that beautiful frequency. Anything that brings coherency, coherent sound into the body brings coherency back into the body. So it will allow anything that's disrupted, energy flow in the body that's disrupted, to come back into harmony. And so it's very relaxing. You know, anyone who's experienced any kind of sound bath, it's a very, extremely, takes you to a very deep state, very deep state of mind, because as we bring coherency back, we're slowing down the brain waves. So you go from that state of, you know, thinking logically, dealing with life, to that, oh, I'm just kind of relaxed now. And sometimes you can go into those really profound, deep states. Oh, yeah, I've had, like I said, very vivid journeys. Yeah. That's the only way I can explain
waking
it.
Dreams.
Yeah, waking dreams, or, and I find it very, I don't know, explorative with, like, in my own self.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, it is very relaxing to be able to not have to have a specific outcome, I guess. Like, I'm going into it, but I'm not going to I'm just going to allow myself to relax into that vibe and just let it happen.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, that's so important.
Let all the other stuff kind of like drop away.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, just completely letting yourself be detached from any expectation. Just, okay, let's just see what happens, and relaxing enough, which is a good thing with the bowls and the sound as well. I use the gong in these sessions.
I love the gong.
The gong, you know, I put it up one end of the bed and I can balance it in a way, just
Yeah.
gently striking it so it's flowing in through the crown, all the way through
Yeah.
the body, and then the other way flowing in through the root chakra, coming all the way up the body. So it's a really nice way just to flush everything through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is the great thing with sound, because it really does help people move past their analytical mind, their judging mind, because they become so relaxed. And what I find so interesting, as I'm sure you do, is at the end then just having that chat, you know, what came up, and and they're like, yeah, it's always like, really? Yeah. It's a very interesting experience just to see what's emerged for them.
Yes. Yeah. For me, and I was going to mention this too, because a lot of people are like, can I have the same experience from an online sound as I can in person? And I'm going to say, yes, you can, because depending on the quality of sound, obviously, from the person recording the video, but it is going to definitely be a step up if you go to a live event or have an in-person session, even more so, because like you said, you got a gong at one end, and like you're gonna feel the actual vibrations from the instrument. I mean, I can still, like, depending on some of them, like obviously last night when I was listening to your gong bath, I started seeing some things. I even told him about it this morning. So
that's great.
But like I said, I love gongs and sound.
And you're very connected with sound, being a drummer and a musical person.
It's just, I'm excited about the connection of all these things, the science and spirituality, the medicine, traditional medicine and holistic medicine, or you know, just finding out how, and I don't think we ever really truly will, because then we'll know everything, but just being able to have a time where we can experience those things, I feel like I'm living my best life experience in that stuff. So like, just being open to what is this thing gonna do? How is this gonna show up in my body? What am I gonna experience from this? That's exciting to me. And
how is it gonna open me up? What am I gonna learn about myself, and what am I finally going to release? Like, you know, when you've had people who say, I feel lighter and I didn't even know I felt burdened.
Yes.
You know, like, okay, I'm just coming along to this experience, this sound healing bath or something, and then they say, I can't explain it. I didn't know that I had this heaviness in my life until it wasn't there anymore. And that's a common experience that people have, because you just don't know what you've just become so used to. You know, you don't even know where it originated. You might have come in with it. You might have been carrying it for hundreds of lifetimes.
That's why I like that you do it in your classes, and that's something that I found, like, in my classes, at least introducing some of these concepts in a regular yoga class, when people who may not want to take the time or just take that step yet to go to that place where there might be people that they don't understand, or they might feel out of place, that they can find comfort in a class, either online or in person, where they can experience, oh, okay, I did feel something from this. Let me explore it more.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and
good. Thank you.
I'm glad we connected. Like,
me too.
Shout
out to Stephanie Living.
I know. Good friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I'm going to ask what, I think we covered a lot about what you do and what your offerings.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to say or share with the world? Any messages you want to give?
Oh, that's such a great question. I would say always find something you can tell yourself that is positive and uplifting when things are difficult. I think that we've forgotten about the power that we have with our thoughts and our words, and it's something that I've consciously been working with, and how amazed I am at its power just that tool of our mind that we all have right there within our beingness, whereby no matter what is going on, to just stop and or even just have a phrase. If you know that you're prone to depression, if you know you're prone to panic attacks, if you know that these things could occur at any time, have a mantra that you can grab. And I'm not talking about a Sanskrit or a Hindi mantra or anything else, just like, I am powerful, or I am relaxed, or everything is okay. I am mantras are the most powerful. The I am phrase really gets our mind's attention. No matter how you feel, no matter how badly or poorly things appear, saying a mantra, your mind will listen to it. True or false, if you're telling yourself terrible things, your mind will believe you. And there's so much data coming out now that people are like doing profound things without any physical practice. They're practicing it all in their mind. It's people are losing weight doing exercises in their mind. These are scientific experiments showing us the power of our mind. If you are feeling, if you experience difficulties and challenges, have a mantra that you can just call in and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. If you're exhausted in the morning, rather, oh, I'm just so tired, I am feeling really great. I am feeling really energized. And as we move forward into this age of Aquarius, I think our minds are becoming even so much more powerful in that we are expanding our minds out farther afield. And so we're affecting so many circumstances. I mean, we are all aware of the law of attraction now. And the law of attraction completely depends upon what is imprinted in our field. And that's what's attracting. That's the flavor of what we're bringing to us. So if we are, I am grateful. Even if we're not feeling grateful, just start the practice. I am wealthy, healthy, and abundant. Just carry on saying it. And then start to feel that feeling as well. And this is the misconception that we have to wait for the thing to occur before we can have the feeling. But, you know, as a part of so many practice now, certainly part of the Kundalini Yoga practice, we have the cosmic hardware to feel, to create thoughts that are really magnetic and powerful, because we can bring that feeling to it. I don't have to wait to become a millionaire before I can feel like I've got $1 million.
Yes.
Now, it mightn't happen the first time you practice, but this is worthwhile trying. Is generating the feeling in the body associated with the outcome you desire, and just that's the meditation right there, and then that becomes a part of your field, and then that is going to pull the life to you that you desire. So yes, that's what I'd like to share.
That's great. I'm glad we got to sit down and talk again, and glad we got to connect. I'm definitely excited about your upcoming event, and I hope you guys out there and who's got their ear to the podcast are going to connect with her as well and come to some of her events, or even if you can't get here in Houston, to find her online, connect with her in that sense.
That Kirtan Sacred Chants event will be streamed live as well. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can be there.
Yeah, and we're going to actually end it with her. She's going to play the harmonium. I'm going to hop on the djembe.
Yeah, how wonderful is this? So I thought a mantra that might be nice to share with everyone is a mantra that we open every Kundalini Yoga practice with.
Okay.
And as I mentioned earlier, you know, you are the guru. You don't need anyone or anything to liberate you. You can do it yourself. And so that's what this mantra is all about. It's a mantra for tuning into the inner wisdom that's within you. And also, we are all energy, and we're connected through an ocean of consciousness. So we're also connected with, we're calling in, you know, that liberating energy, and everything that's going to assist us with the practice we're about to do in a Kundalini Yoga class. But just as a mantra to really tune in to your power, the mantra is ONG, O-N-G. And so we're to saying Om,
Mm-hmm.
and Om describes that, that first big, beautiful sonic bang, the Big Bang that has created our reality and consciousness from that first Big Bang as we know it. But the Ong, the O-N-G, is like the verb. So Om is the noun describing it, but Ong really brings it into this cosmic hardware, because when you say O-N-G, Ong, you can feel it vibrating up here in your nose. So it begins to activate your pituitary gland, your pineal gland, and lighting up your mind, bringing those centers together for really expanded states of consciousness. This is Ong Namo. Namo is I bow. Guru. The Guru is that liberating energy within us that takes us from darkness to light. Guru Dev, that beautiful consciousness all around it. Namo, like bringing that energy that is all around us, that we are bathed in, that's going to elevate us, that's going to shift us. Yeah.
Right.
Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Another mantra we use a lot is Sat Nam. Sat is our highest truth. Nam is our expression of that truth. We might throw that in there as well.
Okay.
Maybe an Ong So Hung. We'll see how we go.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Might help if I pull this out. Here we go. So we just start with an Om. Stop playing. That was so nice to bring the djembe into that.
Finally, you're coming to use, guy.
Yay! That's beautiful.